Hi guys, and welcome to Car Flicks. Today we're going to be finishing off the diff on the E90, and then we're going to be taking a look at some other issues I found along the way. So without further ado, let's crack on with that video.
Right guys, so you join me back on the diff. Now, there is my 21-inch spanner on the back of the supporting bolt that holds the back of the diff in. Those are the front supporting bolts. Now, something that's to take note is these become really hard to screw in. I've got about a centimetre left to screw these in, and the reason that is because I hadn't tightened this up properly. So I tighten the back. Once you've got these aligned at the front and you've got the thread like a few in, what I do then is start tightening the back supporting bolt, because it'll take the weight off the front and hopefully make the front ones easy to put in. Another thing as well, on the passenger side, don't do what I try and do and sandwich it between there, because it doesn't work. This is the supporting bracket. Once you've got it through, it literally goes on there with a bolt. So wait till the very end, okay? But I'm now going to tighten the back with a spanner. Not a spanner, sorry, a ratchet wedged in at the top, like I did before, because as that one turns, this one hits the top of the chassis and it works a treat. So I'm going to tighten all the bolts up and let you know how I get on. Right guys, so 2 hours later, these bolts are an absolute nightmare, and if you can get hold of an impact driver, I would. Failing that, I should have greased the inside of these threads, because I've got a feeling this diff was probably set outside and it was full of rust. I had to use turn by turn an extension bar on this, on an 18, and it was a nightmare. It took me 2 hours, an hour per side. So impact or really clean the threads well. That one's in as well, all done and dusted. Then I've secured the clamp on as well, and if you can see that, I haven't got much room under here, but yeah, that's just a 18 bolt there. That's your exhaust hanger on, so you put the diff bolt through first, then you put this one after. And then if you come to the back, that's all tightened up, the back securing diff, because it's only held on by 3. But I'm now going to get some dinner because I'm absolutely starving, and then we can move on to maybe attaching the drive shafts and the prop. I am slightly concerned that this doesn't fit, but I'm going to try and push it back and hopefully that'll go in. But that one looks like it's lining up, and the other one's tied up at the minute, but I will secure that as well. Right guys, so a bit of an update. I've managed to get the drive shaft on. Don't panic if you can't get this on. I had to wedge it in and then hammer it, and if you keep hammering it, it will eventually go in, and then you just got to keep hammering it around once it's got into the middle to line the bolts up. Really straightforward. I've done this side of the half shaft. They're all in, they just need torquing when I put the handbrake on and put it in gear. But I want to show you a little trick to help get these in, because the CV boot is in the way. So the best way to do it is these just slide into this point here. So put the half spacer here, push the bolt in one at a time until they're loose. You just push them in, and then just turn the wheel to go to the next one and repeat until they're all in, and then align them using the wheel again to the holes, and then start torquing them down as much as you can with your hand until you put the handbrake and put it in gear. Right guys, the diff is finally in, everything's connected, everything's torqued up, but before we test it, I'm going to undo the diff drain plug, because I want to get all the old oil out. I'm going to put a new oil in. As far as I'm aware, it is the same bolt to fill and drain, so it's a 14mm Allen key socket. So we're now going to undo that and then let it all drain out. So I've just undone that, and it's now leaking out. It looks quite new actually. I'm quite surprised at that, but there's not a lot in. And the drain plug looks really new as well, so I suspect it's probably had new diff oil in it, but there was no way of knowing, and there was a leak in transit. I didn't want to take any chances, so I'll let this drain and then I'll refill it. Right guys, I've had to do a bit of improvising here. My pump would only do one direction, so what I've done is I've got a turkey baster, I've got a piece of tubing, I sucked it out and then I let gravity pull the rest out. As you can see, it's working a treat. I've now just got to wait until that's all empty and air starts coming out of there, and then I will start pumping in the new stuff.
One eternity later.
So you joined me about a week later. The sump has finished draining using gravity, and it took a lot longer than I thought, but as you can see, there's quite a lot that came out of there. So I'm glad I did do it in the end, because there's quite a lot of particles in there, but it didn't actually look that bad. It looked quite new. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start filling it back up using my pump in this box here, and then yeah, I'll just pump it all the way in and fill it up until it starts coming out, and then I know it's full. Right, so this is what I'm going to be using. It's a liquid moly 75 weight 90. I'm going to pour it into here, but yeah, we're going to fill this up all the way. So I think it takes about a litre, but it's definitely clearer than the other stuff that was in there, so I'm glad I'm actually changing this. Right, so I filled it up. I ended up taking this squeezing mechanism out of this bottle just because it was easier to put it in, but you can actually squeeze this in. It's designed so that you can squeeze it in, so maybe you could get away with not using one of these, but I'm just going to use this hand pump. I've filled it up now. I'm actually happier that I did change that in the end, because this is just horrible. It's yuck, so I'm glad I did change it. Okay, so we're going to get back under the car. It's just a hand pump. It's got a curl on the end of it so you can get right into the sump. I'm just going to keep filling it and pumping it until it gets right to the very top. Right, so under the car now. I'm just going to put this little hook in here, and then we're just going to start pumping. You can see it going in, and all we got to do is now keep pumping until that starts flowing out. Right, so I've now been pumping it for a little while, about 5 minutes, and you can see a steady stream has started coming out, which it does say to do. So all we're going to do now is take this out like so, and then we're going to get the plug. This is a fairly new plug. I've cleaned this with brake cleaner, and now we're just going to put it in hand tight like that. And then we're going to torque it down. Important with these is to make sure they go in. Oh. And just make sure it's snug. There we go. And then just clean it up with a rag, and then you're done. Right guys, so I've got a bit of a confession to make. When I was tightening these up, I actually snapped one of them because I didn't do it in a star formation, because I was being a bit lazy really, because this one wasn't going in. I tightened this one up and it snapped. So I'm going to have to go to the breaker's yard, get another one, and hopefully I'll be able to use the mold grips to undo this. So I'm going to have to take all this off again. We've got enough bolts in here to test the diff. So I'm going to go to the petrol station, because it's really low on fuel, this car, get a jerry can, fill it with fuel, start her up, and then we're going to see if this new diff I've fitted is good or bad. Right guys, so the other thing on this car, which is got a lot bigger since I've started hitting it with a hammer, is this. It has got massive. I thought this just was bubbling. It looks like there's nothing left of that at all. So looks like it's had a previous repair, not done properly, water's got back in it, and it's just completely disintegrated the whole thing. So what I need to do is I need to take the side skirt off and start getting all this filler out so I know how big a patch that I need to weld into this. So I'm going to do that now. Right, so looking under the car, someone's definitely tried to repair this before. We've got 2 zip ties and a 10mm bolt there. So before I can take this off, I'm going to have to undo that, and then we'll see what the heck is going on here. This is getting worse, guys. Now I've started taking this off, and look what I can see. I can see a lot of body sealer. I can also see a big patch of metal that's been welded in, and then it all seems to go up here. I think this has a new section in here. It's all been welded up, you can see. It's pretty bad. I'm just gonna have to hit this with a hammer and just see how much filler there is in here, and I will expose the full extent. This could be a no-goer, guys. This could be terrible, but all we can do is keep exposing and see what happens. Right, guys, so I have taken off the side skirt. It's pretty easy to take off. They're just held in by these just plastic kind of threaded screws, 2 of which broke taking them off. So the edge of them, and there was 1 mystery 10mm bolt in there as well. Don't know why, but now I'm going to show you the extent of the damage. And can you freaking believe how much filler is in this rear quarter? And look at all that rust. It's just terrible, mate. It's gonna need, I mean, to be fair, it looks worse than it is. I think what's probably happened here, we've got 2 separate repairs here. I think this has had a knock, because that does not feel straight, the metal. So I think it's reversed into something and had that repaired, and then obviously the bad repair has then led to rust, but at the same time it's had a box repair on the bottom of the chassis here. You can see, I mean, that is all solid, so I'm happy with that. What I'm not happy with is this section here. So really what I need, because that's pretty solid, I can cut all this bad rust out, it's not a problem, but I've even checked on the inside, it hasn't gone as far in, so this is all solid. I'm happy with that. So what I'm probably going to do, even that is solid there, it's bubbling a bit, but that is solid. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to contact a scrapyard and I'm going to see if I can get this whole section kind of put in, like just have a whole section cut. So if they like maybe cut a bit from here, maybe all the way down as a skin, and then I'll just have to learn how to weld and put a section in and get rid of most of that filler as well. But yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's a £500 car, what do I expect? Right, so I've just filled it up with fuel, and this is going to be the moment of truth now. So she started. I know I've got no washer fluid. I'm now gonna see if the work I've done works at all. Put in first, release the handbrake. Here we go. Right, let's go outside. I can hear the wheels spinning. Let's see. Right, So that noise we can hear there is just the brakes, okay? Because obviously it's been stirred, and that's just the rust on the brakes, okay? That's what you can hear. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ramp her up to 6 gear, and we're going to see if we can hear any rumbling coming from that diff. So let's do that now. Right, I'm going to have to turn the DTC off, I think, to do this. So I press and hold so it goes completely off. Right, she's off now. So let's build the revs up. In a second. Okay, let's go into third. I don't know why the ABS lights come on. Something doesn't sound great. Fourth. Fifth. And then 6. Right, so I can't hear any rumbling. What is that noise? That whole wheel appears to be wobbling. Or is that just a tyre? I'm just going to let it run. Let's have a look under here. I think we know what it is. I think it's because that bolt's missing. But the main thing is, see how it's not straight, where that side's dead straight. See that? Dead straight there. Wobbling a little bit there, look. I know what it is, it's not a problem. Right, I know what it is, fine. But the main thing is it making that rumbling sound. There's no rumbling.
A great success!
Just the noise from the diff where I need to just get a new bolt on it. I'm happy with that.
Thanks ever so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay tuned because we will be looking at more issues with this E90 and some more hidden ones that I didn't know about. See you on the next one.